Imagine dedicating your life to climbing the ladder of success, only to find that each rung brings you closer to an existential abyss. What if the frenetic hustle toward achievement is precisely what's preventing you from experiencing genuine fulfillment? Enter Emil Cioran, a philosopher who dared to question our relentless obsession with action, suggesting that true liberation might lie in, paradoxically, ceasing to strive. In a world that incessantly glorifies productivity and self-optimization, are you experiencing a quiet erosion of your mental well-being? The statistics paint a grim picture. Burnout rates are soaring, anxiety disorders are becoming endemic, and depression casts a long shadow over even the most outwardly successful individuals. Cioran's philosophy, though steeped in pessimism, offers a subversive path toward finding tranquility amidst the chaos. It suggests a radical acceptance of life's inherent absurdity, a perspective shift that could alleviate the crushing weight of societal expectations and self-imposed pressures. Imagine reduced stress, a newfound sense of self-acceptance, and a deeper appreciation for the fleeting beauty of the present moment, all stemming from the courage to stop trying. But who was this enigmatic figure who so vehemently challenged the prevailing norms? Born in Romania amidst political upheaval and simmering existential crises, Emil Cioran developed a distinctly pessimistic worldview, colored by insomnia, chronic despair, and an unwavering fascination with death and decay. His philosophy delves into the heart of existentialism and nihilism, grappling with the meaninglessness of existence, the absurdity of human endeavors, and the rejection of traditional values. Nihilism, in its simplest form, posits that life lacks objective meaning, purpose, or intrinsic value, leaving many to grapple with a sense of emptiness and disillusionment. Cioran's perspective on death, for example, wasn't one of morbid dread, but rather a vision of release from the suffering inherent in existentia concept we'll dissect further. Consider how the illusion of control permeates our lives, subtly shaping our expectations and fueling our disappointments. We believe we can mold our relationships, engineer our careers, and even immunize ourselves against illness through sheer force of will and relentless effort. Yet, the reality is far more nuanced and often defies our attempts at mastery. Relationships crumble despite our best intentions, career aspirations stall despite our diligent efforts, and illness strikes even the most health-conscious individuals. This relentless pursuit of control, Cioran argues, is a recipe for frustration and a profound sense of inadequacy. What if your constant striving is the very source of your unhappiness? Can we truly find peace by embracing meaninglessness? Is the pursuit of success, as defined by society, ultimately a gilded cage? We'll explore how Cioran's profound pessimism provides surprisingly valuable lessons for navigating life's complexities, offering practical strategies for cultivating contentment, embracing imperfection, and discovering a different kind of fulfillment by challenging our conventional notions of success. Cioran's pessimism wasn't merely a bleak outlook. It was a profound engagement with the inherent suffering and absurdity of existence. He didn't simply state that life was bad. He explored the inconvenience of being born, the cruel joke of being thrust into a world riddled with pain and limitations. He examined the lure of suicide, not as a recommendation, but as a constant, nagging temptation faced by those acutely aware of life's inherent misery. These weren't calls to action, but rather stark, unflinching reflections on the human condition, designed to strip away comforting illusions and force us to confront the bare reality of our predicament. He saw the human drama as a fundamentally tragic play, one where the script is nonsensical and the actors are doomed to suffer. How does one reconcile such a stark view with the persistent human drive for happiness? The relentless chase after pleasure and happiness, according to Cioran, inevitably results in further disappointment, creating a never-ending cycle of desire. Consider the modern phenomenon of consumerism. We are bombarded with advertisements promising fulfillment through the acquisition of material goods, We buy the latest gadget, the trendiest clothes, the fanciest car, only to find that the satisfaction is fleeting. Soon, we are yearning for the next purchase, trapped in a perpetual loop of wanting more and feeling empty despite our acquisitions. Ambition, too, falls under Cioran's skeptical gaze. The striving for social status, the accumulation of power, the relentless pursuit of career advancement, these are all, in his view, ultimately futile attempts to fill a void that cannot be filled. Why, he asks, do we dedicate our lives to chasing goals that ultimately leave us feeling just as empty as before? Cioran didn't spare love and relationships from his pessimistic lens. He saw romantic connections as inherently limited and ultimately destined for disappointment. The initial euphoria of infatuation inevitably fades, replaced by the mundane realities of daily life, the inevitable conflicts, and the slow erosion of passion. He wrote of the decomposition of love, the way in which even the most intense affections are ultimately consumed by time and circumstance. The quest for lasting fulfillment in these domains is, therefore, a fool's errand, a doomed attempt to find stability in a world characterized by constant flux and impermanence. Is it possible to find genuine connection, or are we all ultimately doomed to isolation? Cioran's somber philosophy is not an isolated phenomenon, but rather part of a long and storied tradition of pessimistic thought in Western philosophy and literature. Arthur Schopenhauer, with his concept of the will to live as a blind, insatiable force driving all existence, laid the groundwork for Cioran's own critique of human striving. Friedrich Nietzsche's assault on traditional morality and his proclamation of the death of God resonated deeply with Cioran's sense of meaninglessness and the collapse of established values. Even the bleak, minimalist dramas of Samuel Beckett, with their depiction of characters trapped in absurd, repetitive situations, echo Cioran's vision of the human condition as a tragic farce. By aligning himself with these thinkers, Cioran positioned himself as a voice of dissent, challenging the dominant narratives of progress and optimism that have shaped Western culture for centuries. Does this shared pessimism point to a fundamental truth about the human experience? Born in Romania, Cioran lived through a period of intense political upheaval and profound existential questioning. The rise of fascism in his homeland, a movement he initially supported before becoming disillusioned, exposed him to the seductive power of ideology and the devastating consequences of political extremism. This early exposure to the dark side of human nature profoundly shaped his worldview, leading him to reject all forms of utopianism and to embrace a radical skepticism toward political solutions. The chaos and violence of the 20th century, with its world wars, totalitarian regimes, and genocides, provided ample evidence for Cioran's pessimistic outlook. How could anyone maintain a sense of optimism in the face of such overwhelming suffering? Schopenhauer's concept of the will to live, an insatiable, irrational force driving all existence, was a major influence, as was Nietzsche's critique of morality. He also drew heavily from Eastern philosophies, particularly Buddhism and Taoism, which emphasized detachment, non-attachment, and the acceptance of impermanence. These influences shaped his critique of Western thought and his emphasis on contemplation as a path to inner peace. By integrating elements of both Eastern and Western traditions, Cioran created a unique philosophical synthesis that challenged the conventional wisdom of his time. To what extent did these traditions offer him a refuge from the turbulent world around him? Cioran's philosophy is not merely a personal lament. It reflects a broader historical pattern of existential crises, periods of widespread unease and disillusionment with the established order. The devastation of World War shattered the illusion of progress and revealed the fragility of civilization, paving the way for the rise of existentialism as a dominant philosophical movement. The Holocaust, with its unimaginable horrors, further undermined faith in humanity and exposed the depths of human depravity. In this context, Cioran's pessimism can be seen as a response to the profound sense of meaninglessness and absurdity that emerged in the wake of these cataclysmic events. Was Cioran simply a product of his time, or did he tap into a deeper, more enduring truth about the human condition? His views extended to the nature of language itself. Cioran believed language was inherently flawed and easily manipulated, capable of being twisted to serve the most sinister purposes. The rise of totalitarian regimes in the 20th century, with their mastery of propaganda and their use of language to dehumanize and control populations, offered stark confirmation of Cioran's fears. He saw language as a tool that could be used to obscure the truth, to incite hatred, and to justify unspeakable acts of violence. Do the limitations of language ultimately doom us to misunderstanding and conflict? Cioran viewed action not as a means to improve the world, but as a way to avoid confronting the fundamental absurdity of existence. By busying ourselves with activity, we distract ourselves from the nagging awareness of our own mortality and the inherent meaninglessness of our lives. Action becomes a form of escapism, a frantic attempt to outrun the void. But the more we strive, the more we reinforce the illusion that our efforts matter, when in reality, according to Cioran, they are ultimately futile. Is our obsession with doing simply a way to avoid being? Society relentlessly pushes us to be productive, to achieve, to constantly strive for more. This pressure can lead to exhaustion, apprehension, and a sense of emptiness, even when we achieve what society deems successful. Think of hustle culture, glorified by the media and touted as the key to success. We are told to work harder, to sleep less, to sacrifice our personal lives for the sake of our careers. This relentless pursuit of productivity can leave us feeling drained, disconnected, and ultimately unfulfilled. We sacrifice our mental and physical health on the altar of achievement, only to find that the rewards are not what we expected. Is this incessant striving ultimately worth the cost? Many individuals attain their career goals only to discover they are still unhappy. They reach the top of the ladder and realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. They achieve financial security, but find themselves feeling empty and unfulfilled. They accumulate possessions, but remain haunted by a persistent sense of dissatisfaction. These stories, repeated across all walks of life, illustrate Cioran's point that conventional success is often a mirage, a hollow promise that fails to deliver lasting happiness. Why do we keep chasing after goals that ultimately fail to satisfy us? When one questions the value of action, a transformative shift can occur. Stopping trying can become a path to freedom and self-discovery. This isn't about giving up. It's about reevaluating priorities and finding a different kind of fulfillment. Consider the self-help industry, which often promotes relentless self-improvement and goal-setting. Cioran's philosophy offers a counterpoint to this relentless focus on self-optimization. Instead of constantly striving to become better, what if we simply accepted ourselves as we are, with all our imperfections and limitations? Could this radical acceptance be the key to unlocking genuine contentment? Building on this idea, we can explore how the illusion of control manifests in different aspects of life. In relationships, we might believe we can change our partner, mold them into our ideal. In our careers, we might think that hard work guarantees success. When it comes to health, we often operate under the assumption that we can prevent all illness through diet and exercise. All of these are illusions. The self-help industry often capitalizes on this illusion, promising quick fixes and guaranteed results. Gurus claim they have the secret to success, happiness, and perfect relationships. But these promises are often unrealistic and can lead to chronic dissatisfaction. When we inevitably fail to meet these impossible standards, we blame ourselves, reinforcing the sense of inadequacy. Does this cycle of hope and disappointment ultimately do more harm than good? Recognizing the limits of our control can be incredibly liberating. Accepting uncertainty and embracing the unknown can lead to greater peace. This doesn't mean giving up or becoming passive. It means relinquishing the need to control every aspect of our lives. Consider the benefits of practicing acceptance and letting go. By accepting things as they are, we free ourselves from the stress and anxiety of trying to force them to be different. This acceptance allows us to live more fully in the present moment, appreciating the simple joys of life without constantly worrying about the future. How can we cultivate this sense of acceptance in our own lives? Understanding our lack of control makes living in the moment more meaningful. A life spent trying to control everything robs us of the present. Mindfulness isn't about being in control. It's about experiencing each moment as it comes, without judgment or resistance. By letting go of the need to control, we open ourselves up to a deeper appreciation of life's richness and complexity. Can we find true freedom by surrendering to the flow of existence? Cioran believed that contemplation, taking time to reflect on life's big questions, could lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. He saw contemplation as a way to confront the absurdity of existence and to find meaning in the absence of objective values. By turning inward, we can gain insights that are not available through outward action. This introspection allows us to question our assumptions, challenge our beliefs, and ultimately discover a more authentic way of being. In a world obsessed with doing, is it possible that true wisdom lies in simply being? Mindfulness and meditation techniques can help to cultivate self-awareness and observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. These practices allow us to step back from the chaos of our minds and to gain a clearer perspective on our inner lives. Guided meditation exercises can focus on accepting difficult emotions and embracing the present moment. By practicing these techniques, we can learn to navigate the ups and downs of life with greater equanimity and resilience. How can we integrate these practices into our daily routines? Solitude and introspection can be powerful tools for gaining clarity. By setting aside time each day for quiet reflection, we can connect with our inner selves and gain a deeper understanding of our values, desires, and fears. This time alone allows us to process our experiences, to make sense of our lives, and to find meaning in the midst of chaos. In a world that constantly bombards us with external stimuli, solitude provides a much-needed opportunity for inner exploration. Is it possible that the answers we seek are already within us? Society often promotes outward action over inward reflection, prioritizing productivity and achievement over contemplation and self-awareness. From a young age, we are taught to focus on external goals, such as getting good grades, landing a high-paying job, and accumulating wealth. But this emphasis on outward success can come at the expense of our inner needs. We neglect our mental and emotional well-being, sacrificing our personal lives for the sake of our careers. Is it time to reevaluate our priorities and to prioritize our inner lives? Embracing meaninglessness can be both liberating and empowering. Cioran didn't see it as a cause for despair, but as an opportunity to create one's own values and to live authentically. Without inherent meaning, we are free to define our own purpose and to pursue our own passions, unburdened by external expectations. This freedom allows us to live more fully, to take risks, and to embrace the unknown. Can we find true liberation by letting go of the need for external validation? A job loss or relationship breakup can be reframed as a liberation from externally imposed expectations. These events can be seen as opportunities to redefine one's life and to pursue new interests and passions. Without the constraints of a job or relationship, we are free to explore new possibilities and to create a life that is more aligned with our true selves. Instead of viewing these events as setbacks, we can see them as opportunities for growth and transformation. Is it possible to turn tragedy into triumph by embracing the absurd? True fulfillment can be found by letting go of the need for external validation and focusing on inner growth. Pursue intrinsic goals that are aligned with one's values, rather than extrinsic goals driven by societal pressure. Instead of seeking approval from others, we can focus on cultivating our own inner sense of worth and self-acceptance. This shift in perspective can lead to a profound sense of liberation and a deeper appreciation for the simple joys of life. Can we find true happiness by turning inward? Though Cioran was a pessimist, he found solace and meaning in writing. He channeled his despair into his art, crafting beautiful and profound essays that explored the depths of the human condition. This artistic pursuit provided him with a sense of purpose and allowed him to express his unique perspective on the world. Even in the face of meaninglessness, it is possible to find joy and fulfillment through creative expression. Can art offer us a path toward meaning in a meaningless world? Cioran viewed death not as a tragedy, but as a liberation from the suffering of existence. He saw it as a release from the pain, the limitations, and the inherent absurdity of life. While modern society often encourages us to ignore the reality of death, understanding our mortality can give us a greater appreciation for life. When we acknowledge that our time is limited, we are more likely to make the most of each moment and to live our lives authentically. How can we confront our mortality without succumbing to despair? Thinking about our death can help us identify which societal norms we truly disagree with. With limited time, it becomes easier to disregard others' expectations and focus on what truly matters to us. This awareness empowers us to break free from the chains of conformity and to live a life that is true to our values. What would you do differently if you knew you were going to die tomorrow? Our exploration has taken us from challenging conventional definitions of success to grappling with the core tenets of Cioran's philosophy. Throughout this journey, we've seen that stopping trying is not an endorsement of apathy, but a conscious decision to reevaluate our priorities. We've questioned societal pressures, dissected the illusion of control, and confronted Cioran's unflinching pessimism. We touched on the value of contemplation, realizing that true wisdom may be found in stilling the mind, not just in ceaseless activity. By examining the source of burnout and anxiety, and contrasting this with the ability to live in the moment, we were able to find a new path. The primary revelation is that stopping trying is an active process. It's about consciously redirecting our energy towards sources of fulfillment that resonate with our authentic selves. Cioran advocates engaging with life on our own terms, rejecting the prescribed paths that often lead to disillusionment. This is not passive resignation, but active acceptance, embracing the present moment without the need to control the future. As we have seen, accepting the absurdity of life is crucial to defining your own values. Embracing meaninglessness is not about wallowing in despair. It's about creating a more personally meaningful existence, free from the shackles of externally imposed values. Recognizing the inherent absurdity of life allows us the freedom to define our own purpose, to pursue our passions without the need for external validation. To again use the job loss example, this concept would have you understand that, while losing your job may be unwanted, you now have the freedom to find a new, more fulfilling career. What previously seemed like a disaster can actually be an opportunity. Ultimately, true freedom lies in releasing the need for control and embracing the uncertainty and impermanence of life. Think of learning to sail. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails to navigate the currents. This is Cioran's invitation to adjust our sails to the winds of life, accepting what we cannot change and focusing on what we can. The value of contemplation becomes clear when we are in the moment, because only then can we adjust our sails. Integrating Cioran's philosophy into our lives has particular relevance in today's society, given the increasing pressures of modern life. The patterns of societal expectations we discussed earlier are often constructs that can be challenged and redefined. It is possible to resist the relentless pursuit of success and to live a life that is more aligned with our own values. The modern world pushes us to be something that we are not. By doing so, we will always be unfulfilled. Embracing Cioran's perspective empowers individuals to find contentment and peace amidst societal chaos. It offers a counterpoint to the traditional success narrative, suggesting that true success lies not in external achievements, but in internal peace. To reiterate a previous point, if you do not have internal peace, you will always be unfulfilled. You will constantly want more without ever getting it. What would it look like to abandon this cycle? Transforming our understanding, we see that Cioran's pessimism is not nihilism, but a form of radical honesty that encourages a more authentic and meaningful existence. He sought to strip away our comforting illusions so we could face the true nature of the world. What if you found a way to find pleasure in this reality? While it may sound bleak, facing reality is a necessary step toward true happiness. Linking Cioran's philosophy to modern mindfulness and meditation practices provides another tool for self-discovery. Cioran emphasized inner reflection, as do many views on meditation. Satisfaction comes from inner growth and self-acceptance, not from external achievements or validation. If this inner sense of contentment is not established, one will remain perpetually unfulfilled, always seeking external sources of validation. It's like drinking salt water to quench your thirst. It only makes you thirstier. This exploration hopefully has helped you reduce the anxiety of living in the moment and accepting the absurdity of existence. You can choose your own path and create meaning for yourself. It is okay to reject what others want for you. While it can be difficult, it will be worth it if it means becoming your true self. What might you be capable of if you took the step? What does a truly meaningful life look like, free from societal expectations? How can we cultivate contentment and acceptance in a world that constantly tells us to want more? These are ongoing questions that require continuous reflection and exploration. To continue learning about these concepts, delving deeper into Eastern philosophies like Buddhism and Taoism, exploring alternative lifestyles like minimalism and slow living, or engaging with other existentialist thinkers like Kant and Sartre may prove beneficial. Now, we would like to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Cioran's philosophy? What experiences have you had with societal pressures and the pursuit of success? Share your insights in the comments below, and let's foster a sense of community and shared exploration. There's no right or wrong answer, only different perspectives to learn from. Reflect on Cioran's ideas, experiment with incorporating them into your daily life, and continue exploring the path toward a more authentic existence. Even if these concepts feel difficult, grappling with them is a worthwhile endeavor, as it can lead to a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. Now that you are more aware of the world, what will you do with this information?